Good afternoon, everybody. It's Dee here. Today's date is the 21st of July and the time is 3:30 here in the UK. Hopefully, you've made it through to the other side of the eclipse season and you have landed on the shore after fighting your way through the shark-infested waters, and you can now enjoy lying on your back in the sunshine, ready for the sun to move into Leo, which it will do late on Tuesday night here in the UK, Wednesday morning in the US. So completely different set of energies this week. A lot brighter, a lot more cheerful, a lot more fun to be had as well. There's a couple of really nice aspects this week going on, which we haven't seen for a good while. Obviously the last 6 weeks have been incredibly difficult waters to negotiate. I mean, there's still some difficulties going on, particularly if you're the early end of a fixed sign, because we have some fun with Uranus in the early degrees of Leo, but we'll go on to those in a second. The main thing is just to take in that shift in energy, that brighter, happier feel that things will have. I know here in the UK, the children have finished school for the summer now. They finished last week. So there's definitely that holiday feel in the air as people start going away and taking some time off and to relax for a little while. Although some parents would say that the last thing that school holidays are relaxing. It depends on your children, I guess. But yeah, this it's sort of fiery and playful, warm, vibrant energy that is Leo. I mean, I love my Cancer energy, don't get me wrong, but obviously it's been heavily bombarded by these external forces of Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So this shift over into Leo is going to make us all just feel that much more calm and happy and less stressed about things, hopefully. So like I say, that hits early on in the week, and then Uranus is currently at 6 degrees of Taurus, so you have got this square applying over the next week. It goes exact to the beginning of next week. So I was thinking about this as sort of analogies for this. And to me, obviously, the Leo energy represents royalty and aristocracy, and that kind of idea that power is inherited, and that you were almost born to rule, and that is being challenged by the proletariat, which is the Uranus in Taurus energy. So the people rising up, the peasants are revolting. So if you sort of translate that into astrological terms, it could be challenges to the status quo, where you feel that you have privilege, that you have a right to be a certain way, is going to be faced with some challenges, some external challenges. So that could be being challenged in sort of the values that you have, which is a Taurus thing. It could be the way in which you make your money, which again is another Taurus thing. Sort of that kind of sense of entitlement is being challenged. And if you look at the Pluto in Leo generation, in particular the baby boomers, they have always had this sort of sense of entitlement to them, which is now being challenged. Their reign is finally coming to an end, and we will see the sea change in that. But obviously, for anybody with the sun early doors in Leo, or even in Scorpio or Aquarius, you're going to see that being hit by Uranian vibes, so stirring things up and becoming more future looking. And the thing is, for me, I mean, any kind of squares to fixed signs are always difficult, because fixed signs are by their very nature incredibly stubborn and very proud and very steadfast. So they find it very, very difficult to change. So that's where the conflict will come, is that reluctance to change. I mean, you find with mutables, for example, mutables, even when the squares involved, can find those changes and those challenges a lot easier to deal with because they just don't hold on to things as much. So, they don't mind it when things get shaken up. Whereas if you've got Leo and Taurus energy, that's, two incredibly stubborn, hang on for grim death kind of signs, that be butting heads with each other, and saying, we must move forward into the future. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. And if you look at the people in charge of us as well, obviously Donald Trump has a Leo rising, as does Boris Johnson, who's the potential leader of, going to be our new leader soon. So it'd be interesting to see how that hits for both of them too, with people maybe hitting back against those kind of long-held values and beliefs, and that idea of ruling, having the right to rule over us in a particular way. So yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. I mean, obviously, that Uranus energy in Taurus will be around for quite a while, hitting those things. And I say, particularly if you look at, say, the Pluto in Leo generation that have been ruling over all of us for a very, very long time, they're going to feel that kind of kick up the butt to finally maybe move out of the way, or at least allowing somebody else to shine and take over for a little bit and have a new set of values to adhere to. So yeah, so on a personal and on a larger scale, we've got some interesting possibilities there with that. But that's about the sort of like the extent of the challenging energy this week. I think the day you probably feel most that kind of Sun Leo Taurus pull will probably be on Thursday, when the moon is actually in Taurus, and will make that exact square to the sun, with Uranus being there as well. I mean, the exact sun Uranus, as I say, is the beginning of next week, but it kind of creeps up. These things don't happen overnight, particularly with big planets. You can feel them coming, like sort of the thundering footsteps of a giant moving down a corridor. It might not be on you yet, but you can certainly feel that they're on the way. And whenever any of the big planets are in transit, you will feel the effects of them long before they actually become exact. And sometimes the hardest bit is the run up to it, rather than when it's there, because by the time it hits exact, you've had a chance to kind of get used to the idea that the giant is coming down the corridor, and then what you're going to do about it. Are you going to run and hide, or are you going to challenge? So yes, so Thursday is the day when that kind of square energy of the sun and Uranus and the moon is going to be most prominent. So it could be interesting in terms of events that happen. And on another note of that, I think it was interesting as well, when we had the eclipse last week, was the day when a lot of the stuff kicked off with Donald Trump and the squad, and the go home, go back to where you came from kind of idea, and the fact that finally somebody stood up and went, actually no, that is racist, and challenged him. And that happened the day of the eclipse. And I say that idea of things moving forward and away from these old-fashioned values that people had, that we don't really want in our lives anymore. So that was nice to see that bit of progress there. I think another bit that was really nice to see as well was in Northern Ireland, the final looking at changing some of the laws around abortion and women's rights there, which had been stuck in the dark ages for a very long time. And I thought that was very telling that happened also around the time of the eclipse as well. So, this idea of your cancer obviously rules anything to do with women. and the law idea of it is obviously the Capricorn side of that particular debate, and so just looking at the fact that things could be going in favour of women rather than in favours of old white men making decisions about women. So yes, some interesting world events, as well as I'm sure personally you will have felt those things that have been around. So the next one, and this is a lovely one, is Mercury, which is still moving backwards. Finally goes forward next week, but gets a lovely visit from Venus this week. So Mercury's dipped back into Cancer and meets Venus in Cancer. So when those two get together, you've got this idea of soft words, generally being saying things that people want to hear, getting the I love yous, getting the I care for you, you matter to me, you're important to me. So it's that kind of energy and sentiment that is around this week. And with Mercury being retrograde, it's often things that are established or from the past that could be finally being acknowledged, or you are revisiting things and get sentimental and nostalgic about certain things, that the relationship that you have maybe with your friends or with your partner or with your parents or with your siblings, but just having those kind words together and saying how you feel about things and what they mean to you. I think particularly after that kind of shake-up that we had last week with the eclipse energy and the idea of taking things away and moving forward, and now that we've decided which way we want to go, we might start to say to those people who we want to stay with us why we want them to stay and what that means for us to have them to stay and to be with us. So it's kind of, those kind of nice get-togethers, those nice encounters, phone calls, say just that opportunity to be with people who you care about and to say those things that you really should have said a while back but now finally get the chance to say. How much somebody means to you, and it could be a date now with the partners to get a bit romantic again with each other, and revitalise some of those feelings that can get lost sometimes in the day-to-day grind of life. So yeah, I mean, take the time out, maybe even preempt some of this and make a date, and call up a friend, or go and see your mum, or get back in touch with somebody that that you lost a while ago, but you feel as if you should get back in your life now you've had a chance to think about things over the last 6 weeks, about where you want to go. So yeah, that's a lovely bit of energy that's around this week, and it's good to take advantage of that, because we certainly could do with a lot more love in our lives and saying nice words in a world that can sometimes be very harsh, and where horrible sentiments tend to be the most common thing. I mean, think of something like Twitter, which is a poisoned den of nastiness and vileness, and it's like those kind of people hiding behind their keyboards to say these dreadful things to each other and shame people and to make people feel bad. It's let's put that aside for this week at least. I mean, I'd lovely to see that go all together and be kind and be nice to each other and have those one-to-one encounters with real people in real life, instead of hiding behind things and doing those abstract kind of conversations. So that's Venus conjuncting Mercury. And like I say, Mercury's on its last week of the retrograde. This is always the hardest week, I think, in terms of the Mercury retrograde. It really can feel like it grinds towards the end. Certainly I know, I've noticed that particularly, that the disruptions and the delays and the miscommunication comes thick and fast in the last few days of a retrograde. So follow the rules, don't hide away, just take more time when it comes to planning your trips. Be prepared for delays. There's nothing you can do about them. There's no point in getting angry about it, because that won't change anything. So often with the frustrations of Mercury retrograde, it's how you react to them. And if you know they're coming, you know that those things are likely to happen, then prepare yourself, and don't get angry about it, or fly off at somebody about the fact that your train's delayed or whatever it is. It's like, these things happen, and they won't change any quicker. If you get angry, it'll just make you feel bad, and your stress levels will go through the roof. So take your time this week, when you're travelling around the place. Double check any information that you get. Don't jump to conclusions. If you read something in in an angry light, make sure you get the facts straight before you go off and start shouting at somebody. It could easily be something that you've misinterpreted. So yeah, just take care out there. In this last few days of the Mercury retrograde, and hopefully Venus will sweeten things up for you, so that you're not going to get too cross and angry if you are delayed or things don't go according to plan. So the last one, and again, it's absolutely lovely little aspect. So we've got these two lovely aspects. We've got Mercury, Venus, and this other one, which is Jupiter trine to Mars. So you've got the Leo to Sagittarius energy, Jupiter in Sag, trining to Mars in Leo, and Jupiter's been a bit quiet because it's been out of the loop, as the cardinals have taken front and centre for these last few weeks, and obviously he's been retrograde as well. But he will be getting ready to station direct, and he goes direct at the beginning of August, and that will be the third act of the Jupiter in Sagittarius. So whatever opportunities that this has brought up for you, these next 4 or 5 months until Jupiter moves into Capricorn, is the opportunity to do something about them and to move forward with them. And this week Mars is helping things along nicely. So it's helping to ease the way forward. It's oiling the wheels so that you can act on these opportunities and put things into motion. So, for example, if you have got a sun in Sagittarius, or a moon in Sagittarius, or Sagittarius rising, this is your year to try and move things forward and take advantage of some of these opportunities to grow and develop. In particular, anybody who's got fire signs prominent will benefit from that Jupiter energy being trine to their signs. So check out where that Sagittarius is for you, which house it's in, and how it's aspecting to your natal planet, so that you can take full advantage of this lovely energy that's there. And particularly this week with Mars helping things along, guiding you forward, propelling you forward. He is your chauffeur-driven car, taking you forward to the destination that Jupiter in Sagittarius wishes you to go. So make sure that you are using this energy in as positive way as you can. Learn more, create more, travel more, anything that will develop your wisdom, your understanding, and those lovely Jupiterian things that can help us get satisfaction and depth into our lives. So take good advantage of those. So when Jupiter finally stations direct, we'll see all systems go again. So Jupiter is in its own sign this year. It is probably one of the shining beacons of the whole year, which is dominated by these very heavy cardinal planets. So whenever you get those Jupiterian moments in between sort of the heavy grind of those cardinals, you take advantage, you know, go out into the world, make a trip out, read some books, you know, do so bright, light, fiery things that will warm your soul and make you feel good about being alive and being a human being. So yes, that's a lovely piece to finish off the week. And like I say, we are, you know, out of the woods now for a good while before we get our next hit with the Cardinals. So enjoy the summer, take advantage of these lovely fiery energies that are in Leo and Sagittarius, and you know, take the time to relax, take the time to contemplate, and to be grateful for the wonderful world that we do actually live in. Sometimes it can feel that it's not like that when everything gets heavy and dark, but now is the time to see the good, look at that optimistic Jupiterian viewpoint, which can brighten our lives up a great deal. So yes, enjoy your week. I'll be away next week, but I shall try and still do a little video before I go or even while I'm on my holidays. So you might be getting this from the sunny shores of Mallorca as I go and look for some sun and some sea, which will be very welcome. All right, take good care out there. See you soon. Bye bye.